This guy has got the heart that Gene Hackman talks about. So to me, he's the best there is, the best there was, and the best there ever will be. Brad Culpepper.
Extremely nice. Coach, I appreciate the kind words, but you asked everybody if they knew what a running clock was. I'm pretty sure they all know. I think Louisville had it on against FSU.
We wish.
I know. Listen, my son goes to Syracuse, and then they definitely had a running clock on them, too.
Oh, golly.
Yeah, it's about time. I mean, what's that, 13 years later? We were talking about Tennessee. But it's good to be back. I'm actually not back in Tallahassee enough recently. I've got 3 children, and my oldest plays football at Syracuse. He's getting redshirted. He's a quarterback up there. My second son's at Plant High School in Tampa, and they had a big win last week, beat Armwood. Armwood was ranked nationally. So they're 4-0, and I was following the new playoff. It's going to be kind of funky. My son's a junior, so he'll be dealing with that next year. Going back to my high school days, I see that Rickard's here. And golly, I ended up playing varsity football at Leon, and baseball too, for 4 years. So from 1983 to 1987. Well, I guess I graduated in 87. So football season's 83 to 86. Played Godby 4 times, 4-0. Played Lincoln, back when there was no Childs then back then. Played Lincoln, 4-0. Played Rickards. I'll be dang, we lost one time to Rickards, and it was our best team we ever had. And the only reason we lost it was because our kicker, oh my God, comes to the end of the game. And we were undefeated that season. Had a guy named Tony Lomack, a guy named Chris Miller. If anybody, I mean, that guy was unbelievable. Anyway, comes down to the last second. We're about 30-yard line. Kicker gets in there, kicks it. Time goes off, win the game, makes it. Throw the flags, but they didn't throw the flags till after the play. Whistles didn't blow, whatever. So anyway, we're all running around. We just beat Rickards. We're going to go on win the state championship. All of a sudden, the ref comes out and says, well, they were lined up off sides, Rickards. And we go, okay, we'll decline it. We'll decline it. And they go, no, you can't because it's an encroachment foul. You have to take the penalty. I think the first kick was 35. So they move it up to the 30-yard line. They make us take the penalty. I think they've changed the rules since then, but they made us take the penalty. We moved up, and the kicker misses it wide right. We lose the state championship. We lose to Rickards, the only team we lost to. The biggest problem with that whole thing was I was the kicker. So I couldn't really blame anybody else. That was a soccer-style kicker. But anyway, it's about Gene Cox Stadium. Man, everything... He taught me every single thing that's illegal about football now. We did bull in the ring every day. You can no longer do bull in the ring. We did like a machine gun type drill where they'd line up 10 guys in a row and you drill one guy in the dirt. You can no longer do that. We had water deprivation. You could have no water, maybe one little squirt of water. Right, can't do that anymore. So anyway, I promise you this though. Anybody who ever came out of Gene Cox's coaching was one of the toughest SOBs you'd ever meet. Because I ended up playing about 20 years of football, and it was never harder than what I endured at Leon High School. Not at Florida, not with the Vikings or the Bucks or the Bears. At Leon, it was unbelievable. A lot of people, my father actually talked about being a captain, somebody Steve did. My dad, Bruce, and my brother's here, my older brother, he played at Leon as well, but my father's name is Bruce as well, and he was captain at University of Florida, and I think we're the only father-son captain duo there, which is kind of cool. We actually got into the Hall of Fame together at the same time. But growing up, I mean, I was a big FSU fan. I remember coming to the old, the erector set. I mean, it really was, and coming to watch the games, and I mean, heck, I'd go back to Ron Simmons, Paul Porowski, and Jimmy Jordan, Wally Woodham, all those guys, Bonasar, they were all great. So in choosing a college, I had some good opportunities, and my visits were Auburn. I went to official visit to Auburn. I went to Alabama. I went to Notre Dame. I came to FSU, and I went to Florida. Well, I figured I didn't want to be a farmer, so I knocked out Alabama and Auburn immediately. And then, you know, quite frankly, I kind of wanted to get out of town. You know, going from Leon, I didn't really want an extension of high school, so it came down to Notre Dame and Florida. And Lou Holtz was the coach at Notre Dame, and he would come and, you know, lisp his way in the house and tell jokes and do magic tricks. But I tell you what, I mean, it was, you know, you come up here and, you know, I can't talk. I can talk like Spurrier. I'll do that in a second. But it's hard for me to talk like Lou Holtz. But I mean, he had me convinced I was going to Notre Dame. He said they'd win a national championship for sure if I went up there, and they actually won it the next year. So I went for my visit, and it was in February, and it was in South Bend. No, I know. Freezing cold. So anyway, I chose Florida. Get to Florida. You guys may or may not remember who the coach was. It was a guy named Galen Hall. I loved Galen. He recruited me to go there. It's funny, when I got in the Hall of Fame, I thanked Coach Spurrier, and he was in the crowd, and I thanked him because he was at Duke when I was coming out of high school. And I thanked him for being such a terrible recruiter that I didn't go to Duke and I went to Florida instead, his team. He thought that was pretty funny. But when he first got the job, I tell my kids this, you know, before I got to Florida, they'd never won a Southeastern Conference championship. They're like, what? I'm like, I'm telling you, we'd never won it in the history of the program. And Steve came in, and he changed the whole, I mean, he did a lot more than just change Florida. I think he changed the whole aspect of the Southeastern Conference, maybe college football. Before he got to Florida, it was, you know, Auburn and Alabama, and everybody's 3 yards in a cloud of dust. I mean, it was just a run thing. You know, even Bobby, although he threw a little bit more than most, but they didn't throw like they do now. But Steve kind of turned everything around. But I'll never forget when he first came in the spring, and he was getting us all fired up, getting ready for the spring game, and he's like, all right, first thing we're going to do is, and it reminded me of Animal House, I'll tell you why. So he gets up on the whiteboard, and he starts writing, all right, we're going to have winners and losers in the spring game. Winners and losers. The losers are going to get beanie weenies. And he wrote up beanie weenies. And then on the other side, he goes, the winners are going to get steak. And he writes steak. And he writes, and shrimps. And he writes SCHRIMPS. Now, FSU grads, that's not how you spell shrimps. First of all, it's not plural. There's no S on it. There's no H in it, or there's no C in it, or whatever else. So he's going, you lose, you get beans. You win, you get shrimps. And so I remember looking up, and I looked over at my buddy Kirkpatrick, who's next to me, and he's like, shrimps. And I'm like, leave it alone. He's on a roll. It's kind of like when the Germans bombed Pearl Harbor. It was the same kind of thing. He was going on and on. But he did change college football. It was an amazing experience. Didn't care much about defense, but he sure to do the offense. And I guess it's good to have old SOS back in Gainesville where it belongs instead of up in South Carolina. Steve, you talked about getting drafted. Yeah, I was fortunate enough to win some awards and do pretty good in college, but apparently there's not that big a market for 6'2", 250-pound nose guards in the NFL. Now I'm going to go backwards a little bit and explain something that I always get asked about, and it actually led to, I guess, my whole life and what's happened, created now. Back when I was a sophomore at University of Florida, we used to, everybody know where Dog Island is?
Yeah.
Well, my folks our family had a stilt house on Dog Island. And back in 1989, I hadn't met my wife yet, and this led to it. Now, that's a long, long story, but I'll make it short. Ended up going fishing with Ralph Haven and my dad. We're going spear fishing off the coast of Dog Island. And we go about 15, 20 miles out spear fishing. So we're scuba diving, and all three of us go down. And we get to the bottom, and it's pretty very. And about 15 minutes later, I kind of look at my watch. We're down about 60 feet, so we can stay down about an hour without having to decompress and do all this stuff. So I go ahead and surface, thinking, okay, I don't know where anybody is, and I don't want to get speared in the back because they may think I'm a big whale or shark or something. So I get to the surface, and it's about 3 in the afternoon, and I'll be dang, we were in a 35-foot boat. It was a Rampage. It was a nice boat, double diesel engine, and about 2 feet of the boat is sticking out of the water. The whole boat is sunken. And we cannot see any land. Well, first of all, I can't. I'm the only one that came up at that point. So I immediately don't really know what to do. I've got a spear, so I see debris all floating away. I grab a yellow shirt because I'm thinking, okay, if somebody comes along, I want to wave at them. So when we landed there, we dropped the buoy down to mark the reef. So I kind of go and hold on to the buoy because the boat went all the way to the bottom, all the way to the bottom. And it's in the end of March. Water's about 65 degrees. I do have a wetsuit top on, but it's pretty cold. So about 5 minutes later, my dad comes up, and he's freaked out as well. He was actually he couldn't clear his ears, and he was on the anchor line. And it got loose. Now, we've been diving before, and sometimes the boat gets loose, and you got to go swim after the boat. So that's actually what he thought was happening because the line was loose. But he looks up, and the boat's actually coming down on him, so he swims back up. So now we're both on the top of the water. Ralph Haven is still down below. Now, we look at our watches, and I'm like, God dang, he can be down there for another 45 minutes. So we see a boat about a mile away, and we say, well, what are we going to do? I mean, the boat can't see us, but we got to swim to it. I mean, there's nothing much else we can do. So we leave Ralph down below. We figure, okay, we know with the GPS, it wasn't GPS back then, it was like a Loran reading, but we knew the reading of where the reef was. Let's go get this guy, rescue and come back and get Ralph. When we get halfway to the boat, he takes off. So now it's about 3:30. We're 20 miles out. There's not a boat in sight. There's no land. And we're like, what are we going to do? So, all of us being Eagle Scouts, we figured out, okay, the sun's moving, it's setting in the west. We're south of Carabel, or Dog Island, so let's go ahead and start swimming north. So we swim. All of a sudden, the sun goes down. It's dusk. We don't have a compass. We don't have any lights. We don't really know what to do. We don't know where Ralph is. But at that point, we can't really go anywhere because if you don't know this, if you had closed your eyes and you walked in a straight line, you ended up walking in a circle. Same thing with swimming. If you don't know where you're going, you're going to swim in a circle. Not to mention you're more worried about the Gulf Stream taking us to Mexico or what have you. So anyway, luckily it was a clear night, no moon, so there was a ton of stars. We were able to find the North Star, and we kept swimming. 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, you can see fish, big. Maybe there were sharks, I don't know, but you can see the phosphorus in the waves. This is about 6-foot waves coming over us as we're going. We're still swimming. We dropped our regulators, we dropped our tanks. We did have BCs on, so we weren't going to drown in the sense of going down under. But we kept kicking, and about midnight, we saw a flare go off south of us. And what had happened is a guy named Ray Menard, I'll never forget his name, Ray Menard, had come along and happened to see Ralph. He was coming back from a big fishing trip and just ran into Ralph. So then they rescued him. They put an APB in there's the Culpepper. Father and son are still out in the ocean. My mom heard that. They were freaking out. But anyway, a long story short, we got rescued about 2 or 3 in the morning. Same guy kept coming north. By the time we got rescued, I think we swam about 10 or 12 miles because we could see the tower. There's a tower in Carabel way up high. We could see that on the horizon. So we knew we were going the right direction. But it was quite an ordeal. My dad kind of had hypothermia, but I had more fat on me, so I was actually okay. So we got rescued, and we were out there about, 10 hours. So it was a big deal. Played 2 years with the Vikings, did real well. Ended up playing the bulk of my career with the Bucks. And when I got there, they were in sad shape. Unfortunately, they're kind of back there now. The Bucks are struggling again. What's up with that Aguayo guy? Holy smokes! Now listen, I love FSU kickers. Janikowski, that guy's amazing. I'll work every single thing. We got to get that Aguayo guy working. But anyway, we struggled with Sam Weiss. Tony Dungy came in, and he changed the whole culture of the team. Obviously, he's in the Hall of Fame. He's one of the greatest coaches of all time. But he had a plan, and I think of all the coaches I've ever had, including Steve, Tony Dungy, there's no question that he's the best I ever had. And I'll tell you this, I went to Florida, and everyone thinks, you hate everybody from FSU or Miami. That's actually not true. I played with Derek Brooks, you guys have heard of him, and I played with Warwick Dunn, and I played with a ton of guys from FSU, and they were all my favorite teammates. And quite frankly, in the pros, you kind of band together. It's like the Florida guys. Warren Sapp, we can all hate him together, but actually I love Warren. We were teammates for a long time. But we would all band together, and it's like the state of Florida teams are better than Nebraska, and better than every Notre Dame, and better than all the rest of this team. So actually the camaraderie amongst the Florida teams is really high. I enjoyed playing with those guys all together. The last story I want to tell you, and I know it's a school night, I get it. I did a smart thing when I was playing in the NFL. I actually went to law school while I played in the NFL. So I would go, Florida did a great job, University of Florida, they allowed me to go every spring, so it took a long time. It normally takes 3 years, it took me 6 years to get through, because I'd go to law school in the spring, and then I'd play football in the fall. I was kind of like Highlander, I was there forever, and I'd tell students I couldn't really get real close to them because they would be gone and I'd still be here. So I retired from the NFL in 2001, and actually graduated from law school at the same time in Florida. So I graduated law school, and if I was a 10th round pick in football, I was probably the first pick in the draft coming out of law school. Everybody wanted me to come and have be a name or whatever. So you guys know heard of John Morgan, right? So I went and worked for Morgan. It's great. He gave me an offer, which I would have taken it, but I went home and I doubled it, and he still did it. So it was a good deal. But the story I want to tell you is pretty funny. So I'm 33 years old. I took the bar in '02. So John's a personal injury attorney, and he never hires anybody straight out of law school. He only hires people that have done defense work for a long time, and they know the game. Well, I'm coming into it where I've got a good name, and he wants to pump my name up around. And I don't really know what I'm doing. Fortunately, I've been doing it 15 years now. I know a little bit better on what I'm doing. I've had my own firm for 10 years. But so I go to my very first deposition. And of course, I'm actually defending the deposition. My client had been in jail. It was a real funky case. And when I first got there, I got all the cases that were turned down. I ended up taking them, and I cut my teeth with them. But anyway, I tried to ask all the questions to all the attorneys there, like what's going to happen, what's going to happen, what's going to happen. Well, they didn't tell me this one little thing at my first deposition. Got my client here. They're asking. Actually, my client was the child. He had broken his leg at a nursery. Actually, the teacher actually had broken his leg. We ended up doing pretty well. The kid was fine, but she slammed him down on something. But they were trying. The defense attorney was trying to blame the father, who actually was in jail at the time the kid got hurt at school. So they're deposing him and asking him all the questions, and this guy's pretty much a hardline felon. So at the very end, and of course, as a young lawyer, even though I'm 33 or whatever, you got to try to, like if something happened to me now, I'd be like, I don't even know what you're talking about, and you're not afraid to explain what you don't know. But as a young lawyer, trying to act, I got some old grizzled vet who's asking all these questions, and I'm trying to act like I know everything. I'm objecting to everything, and I don't really know what I'm objecting to. Object. Form, whatever that means. And so at the very end, here's what you do. You can either read your deposition, or you can waive reading your deposition and trust that the court reporter got it all down correctly, okay? But that's called your rights as a deponee, I guess, or when you get your deposition. So, I'm defending my guy, and he's answering the questions, so they finish. And the defense lawyer says, he kind of looking at me, and I'm looking at him thinking, oh my God, I'm probably supposed to do something. And I look at my client, and I look at him, and he kind of looks at me and says, well, you want to tell him his right? And my mind is just going, I'm like, holy smokes, I don't know what he's talking about. Nobody told me about his rights. So I look at him, I look at my client, I look at the defense counsel, and I kind of look at the court reporter, and they're looking at me, and I'm like, God, I got to do something. I go, you got the right to remain silent? I basically arrested my client on my first deposition, which had nothing to do with anything. My client, who, this is a civil deposition, but he'd been in a lot of criminal situations, he starts raising his hand and said, I didn't do anything. I go, you got the right to remain silent? And defense counsel, the whole Southern guy goes, boy, you don't know what you're doing, do you? I said, well, it's my first one, so anyway, explain the deal. But it was pretty funny on my first deposition, arresting my own client, reading his Miranda rights when it really was whether he wanted to read or waive his deposition. So, anyway, I really appreciate you guys having me out, and Tallahassee's fun. Listen, I grew up here, going to Big Dismal, going to Alligator Point, doing all the different stuff, and it's good to be back. My son's a junior at Plant High School, and he's got some decent schools looking at him. He's got offers from Alabama and Notre Dame and Florida and USC. He has not gotten an offer from Florida State yet, which is kind of surprising. But We would definitely be interested if they ever did. He plays tight end, and they do a great job with tight ends here. They do a great job. So anyway, thank you for having me. Everybody, want to take questions?